A simple question for you. Does the economy where you live afford you the ability to buy a house, do the job that you want to do that actually makes you happy during the day, live your life, spend time with your family? If not, then maybe you might start thinking about buying one of these cheap properties in Japan. Now, a couple years ago, it was pretty viral to see that properties in Japan would cost about 10,000 bucks. But recently, I'm seeing the internet flooded with a bunch of people who tried this, failed, and then posted a bunch of videos saying how buying an akiya house or abandoned home in Japan is a trap. Don't do it. You'll lose a bunch of money, like this lady here, Shandy.
I bought an abandoned property in Japan, but it didn't go to plan. Actually, the truth behind the walls was absolutely shocking.
I'm sorry to break it to you, Shandy, but this opportunity only exists for those who actually have the grit to do all of the work themselves. Figure out, learn how to build a place, learn and study Japanese carpentry, and actually want to fix up a place. If your plan is to just buy a cheap property in Japan and pay people to fix it up, then you're gonna definitely lose. I'm just telling you that right now. Now, I'm just a builder. I'm not an expert on visas and immigration. You'll have to handle that stuff yourself. And a lot of people in the comments tried to say something along the lines of, oh, well, you have a Japanese wife. It was so easy for you. Well, newsflash, the first time I visited Japan, I didn't have a visa. I didn't have a Japanese wife. Matter of fact, I could barely even afford the trip. My first time I visited Japan, I had to go on a website called Workaway. And this is a type of website where you find people that are looking for someone to do odd jobs and they offer you a place to stay. So I literally went to Japan the first time and volunteered my services as a carpenter. So for my entire 2-week trip, all of my mornings were spoken for doing carpentry on somebody's school in exchange for a place to stay. I'm sorry to tell you, but if you want to do this on a low budget and figure it out from scratch and make it work, you're going to have to make a ton of sacrifices. But it's not all bad news, because what I really want you guys to know is if you've ever been camping or you've ever built a birdhouse, congratulations. You have all the experience necessary to make it possible to buy a Japanese home in Japan, fix it up, have a place to stay, and a future for yourself. Now, this is a little bit of a long shot, and I'm not a psychological expert, and I don't claim to have all the answers to happiness in life. But thankfully, there were psychological experts that have come before us. And there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is a pyramid that describes the exact recipe and blueprint for human happiness. Let's go over to Boxy and map out on the door exactly how this works. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is as follows. You got your triangle. You got your physiological needs, food, shelter, okay? Everything you need to stay alive. Tier 2, safety. Tier 3, love and belonging. Tier 4, purpose. Now, why buying an abandoned home in Japan and moving there can satisfy this entire brick and make your life happy in a way that the economy that you're living in probably can't. Number 1, physiological needs. We're going to satisfy the house and we're going to satisfy the food in Japan because why? Property in Japan is super cheap. 2, the food is absolutely delicious and affordable. Number 2, safety. Japan happens to be the safest country in the entire planet. How convenient. That's done. Love and belonging. You got a family? Bring them with you. You might have to meet some people, make some friends. You might have to solve this one on your own. I can't really help you with that one. Purpose. What better purpose in life can you come up with than building your entire way of life, where you live, the house you live in, your yard, everything that in your ecosystem by your own hands? Purpose solved. So moving to Japan, buying an abandoned home, fixing it up, has solved the entire Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So originally I thought this concept was only going to be aimed at blue-collar individuals who already had and possessed the skills and the grit needed to do something like this in the first place. But it turns out many of you guys are interested who might be on the opposite end of the spectrum of the working class. And that's cool too, because I'm here to tell you that the entire fun part about all this is learning about Japanese carpentry, learning how this stuff goes together. Japanese carpentry is one of the most interesting and cool types of architecture on the planet, in my opinion, of course, because of how it fits together like a puzzle, the way that it was engineered over many, many iterations because of the fact that Japan as a country is prone to earthquakes. These villages would get rocked by earthquakes, and they had to figure out better and better ways to build these structures over time. And over thousands of years, they've come out with the Japanese joinery that we see today in these cool short videos online. And if you're anything like me, you think this type of carpentry is so interesting that you might want to try it yourself. This AI stuff is creeping up on us quick. And if you're looking for an analog escape, this is it right here, boys. Hand to nail, saw to wood. It's time to start building this stuff by ourselves, bringing it back, build something that you own, that's yours, that you can feel proud of. And yeah, I might have been framing houses and building structures since I was 13 years old, so 20 years or more of experience. And that does mean that I can probably hit in a nail faster than you can. But if it takes me 2 hits to hit in a nail, and it takes you 6 hits to hit in a nail, at the end of the day, end result is the same. The nail goes in, okay? So the person that taught me how to build is about 72 years old now. And when he started, he was also 13. Back in the 60s housing boom. And he dropped out of school with about a 4th grade education. He's a legend in his own right, but this is proof that it does not take rocket science to become a builder. It is one of the most common sense professions that you could possibly enter. Building is so self-explanatory that even children can figure it out without instruction using Legos and blocks. You stack stuff on top of each other, the load goes down, it doesn't fall over. Now, granted, I'm very much oversimplifying the process, but let me just show you what it takes. You get yourself a board, you get yourself some nails, you nail them in. It really isn't rocket science. Next, you get yourself a Japanese saw. It's a $10 saw. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying and trying to be funny. But clearly, the lady like Shandy didn't really understand that it's gonna take learning, it's gonna take effort, but you, guys, you can do this. If you can do that, that's all it takes to begin. And if you're trying to buy a property in Japan and fix it up, nobody's telling you that this has to be finished overnight and you have to move there as an emergency. This can be a 10-year-long adventure for you. Get the place, make a couple trips, fix it up. Maybe you're so broke that you have to go on Workaway like I did and volunteer your time for a place to stay just to work on your place. Even so, by the time you finish, you'll have a place that you can call your own, no mortgage, no one telling you what to do, low taxes, sustainable living. Granted, you got some land, you grow some potatoes and rice on that thing, you are good to go. This American economy is going to get worse, and if you think that you're living in a place that it's going to get better, then hey, maybe this type of venture isn't something that you want to do. But for me, I'm obsessed with building in Japanese carpentry, and all I want to do is buy as many of these places as possible, fix them up, invite my friends. Let's talk about what you would actually need to fix up a Japanese house. Now, here in America, I'm a licensed builder and I build houses. I have thousands of dollars worth of power tools. But the interesting thing about Japanese carpentry and the fact that it's a little bit of an ancient technique is the fact that actually it's possible to build a structure like this using only hand tools, because that's all they had when they designed the method of building. So if you're interested in fixing up a place on your own, it's a little bit of a misconception that you might need an entire construction company worth of tools to get the job done. Granted, sawing through a board by hand takes a little bit longer than maybe a powered skill saw where you're going to rip right through it, but it's still going to work. And if time is not a constraint, then you can enjoy yourself. Cut the wood by hand, use a handsaw, use a hammer. I think that if you wanted to fix up a Japanese home and all you had was a screw gun, a handsaw. Obviously, you might need some tools for demo, sledgehammer. These are all tools that would cost hundreds of bucks, not thousands. Very doable, very easily storable. I don't think you're going to need a truck and a rig with all kinds of power equipment to get this done. I think you could start off practicing at home with just a handsaw, hammer, maybe make a couple wooden pegs, see if you can try out some joinery, and go from there. And it's understandable for some of you to say I don't have proof of concept on this channel, considering I don't have a full akiya restoration build video, but that's the reason why I'm here in the US grinding up my cash and saving up to go do it, because it isn't an overnight process, and I don't have the ability to fly there tomorrow, grab another piece of property and start building. But I do have a couple plots of land in Japan that I bought for under 5,000 bucks, and going to work every day knowing that I have that keeps me going just one more step forward. And every dollar I save towards that goal is another dollar closer I am to building up my property. Hopefully one day we can do a build video on this channel. I'm looking forward to it. But for now, I'm trying to let you guys in on my plans and why I think this is a great opportunity for anyone who's struggling in any country and is looking for a way out. And since I don't have proof of concept on the channel, all we have to do is go on the internet and look to others. I was lucky enough to have an opportunity to go work with a fellow named Anton, who's done this over 5 times. He's got 5 properties which he rents out. Every single one of them are beautiful. It's proof of concept that this really works. You really can build the real estate portfolio. And just for a little bit of contrast here, if you wanted to become a real estate developer in America, buy properties at whatever value they're sitting at, put more money into them and sell them for higher than both of those numbers combined, that is an extremely high threshold, just to let you know. You know, buy a place for $1 million, put 4 into it and hope to get 2 for it. Good luck to you. I might have to save up my entire life just to get enough money to do that. But in Japan, the cost of entry is extremely low in comparison. For under 100K, you can become an international real estate developer. Try that title on and see how it fits you. I think a lot of people in the comments who are questioning the visa realities and trying to poke holes in this plan are honestly people just trying to cope. And the reason they're trying to cope is because they actually like the sound of the idea, but it also sounds like it's too much for them. So it makes them feel better if they can poke holes in the story. Instead of trying to find up excuses of why this doesn't work, maybe do some research on your own and find a way that this could work for you if it's something you're really interested in. Listen, flying to Japan and buying a property right off the rip is probably not the move. I mean, I had already visited Japan 4 times before I bought my piece of land. If this is something you're seriously interested in, you obviously have to have at least visited once or have the intent to visit on a reconnaissance mission, okay? So if you're looking at these properties and you're thinking like, this is something I really want to do, the first thing you should do is schedule a trip to Japan. See if you like the place. Make sure that you like the culture and the food before you consider buying a property where you're going to live in another country. All this stuff is easy for me to suggest because I already know that I enjoy Japanese culture, food, way of life, getting around. All that stuff is great for me, so I can say that as a given. But if you're just starting out and interested in these properties, my #1 recommendation to you is plan your first trip. The reconnaissance mission itself might be pretty expensive, but if this is something you're seriously thinking about, it's a necessary step that you're going to have to take. And you could always do something like I did, a work away, volunteer help type of thing, where maybe you book a stay on a farm and you have to help out at the farm, but you don't have to worry about paying for a hotel, and maybe the plane ticket is your only expense. There are lots of ways out there that you can actually get yourself boots on the ground and use whatever little free time you might have to explore, maybe book some walkthroughs and check out some of the properties with your own eyes. That way you can see if this is something that might be too daunting for you. Or if you've already got that part out of the way, look up some Japanese carpentry videos online. Buy yourself a couple of timbers and see if doing the work in actual practice is something that's fun for you. I know that when I work on Japanese carpentry projects in my lot here, I can start and before I know it, the sun's going down and I didn't even realize 3 hours had gone by. That's how much I enjoy it. Maybe you're the type of person where doing that type of work is exhausting, so you'll realize that this isn't for you. The point is, you want to make sure that you pass each gate checkpoint before you get to the final decision-making process. I don't want to shape this as a fantasy dream and have you go out and just try to buy a Japanese property over the phone. That is absolutely an awful idea. What I think you should do is take baby steps, starting with research. You're obviously watching this video, so it's something that you're interested in. So watch more videos, plan a trip, practice the carpentry, research the methods, and maybe eventually you can land on the dream idea of owning your own property, growing your own food, doing your own thing, nobody telling you what to do, which that's what we all want, isn't it? And I haven't even told you that this thesis has a whole second level above just buying a property for yourself. If you think about it, it can scale up just like anything else can. You buy a property for yourself, fix it up, live in it. Yeah, you have a mortgage-free home for the rest of your life. It's very rewarding. But what if you take this a little bit wider, one step higher? What if you go ahead and got yourself a 10-unit building? Now we're talking. You got 10 units bringing you in $500-600 a month. Okay, you're making $6,000 a month. How much do you think a 10-unit building would cost in Japan? I bet you it's cheaper than a single-family home in my area, because some of those can go up to over $1 million. So the sky really is the limit with international real estate. Japan is one of my favorite places, but this could be anything for you. I don't know, that's just a thought. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.